The temple was no longer just a place of fire. It felt like a living thing now. Logan stood in the center of the ritual circle, the strange red symbol still glowing beneath his boots. His heart pounded, but not from fear. Something inside him had changed. The fire caller stepped back into the shadows. His part was done. Now came the trial of bone and blood. A heavy stone door opened with a deep grinding sound. The ground trembled as a beast was dragged into the chamber, held by glowing chains, its body half covered in stone plates, half in flesh. It looked like it had crawled out of a nightmare. Massive jaws, 6 glowing red eyes, and claws that scraped the stone like knives on bone. Logan's hand reached for a weapon, but he had none. "That is Grithanel," Thera said from behind. "The barrier, it has killed 7 warriors this year alone." Logan didn't blink. "Great, I get the VIP version." The chains were cut, the beast roared, but Logan didn't run. Instead, something strange happened. The glowing symbol beneath his feet pulsed once, thumped, then spread up his legs like red lightning. It wrapped around his chest, arms, even his throat. Then it burned into his skin like firebrands. He dropped to his knees, choking, eyes wide. He couldn't breathe. Thera screamed, "No!" He wasn't ready yet. But the fire didn't kill him, it merged with him. The markings cooled down, leaving behind glowing scars like tribal tattoos carved with light. And suddenly, Logan stood taller, stronger. The beast lunged, and Logan moved, faster than he ever had before. He rolled under its swipe, grabbed a broken spear from the arena floor, and stabbed it deep into the creature's side. The beast roared. In pain and rage, blood sprayed. The crowd howled with excitement. The ritual had truly begun. But this wasn't a normal fight. The more Logan bled, the more the markings glowed. The beast charged again, its tail swinging like a mace. Logan ducked, but not fast enough. He was thrown back, smashing against the stone wall. Pain flared through his ribs, but he forced himself up. Thera's voice echoed through the temple. "Logan, listen to me. The brand, it's the heart brand. It chooses those with no fear left. Let it guide you." "I never asked for this," he shouted back. "No one does," she cried. "But you survived its judgment. Now, fight like it chose you." The beast circled, low and ready. Logan's breath came fast. He picked up 2 jagged bones from the ground, sharp, deadly. And light, the next moment, was pure instinct. The beast lunged. Logan slid beneath it, sliced its underbelly with both bone blades, and rolled up behind it before it even turned. The markings flared bright red, with a roar that didn't sound human. Logan leaped onto the beast's back and drove both blades deep into its neck. The creature shrieked, thrashed, then fell. Silent smoke rose from its wounds. The glowing chains that once held it began to crumble into dust. Logan stood over it, chest heaving. Blood ran down his arms. His eyes were glowing faintly, red like the moon above. The crowd stared in silence. Then one by one, they dropped to their knees. Thera looked around, stunned. "They bow." She whispered, "They've never bowed to an outsider." Logan turned to her, limping, eyes wide with something between fear and fury. "What the hell is happening to me?" She stepped closer. "You passed the trial of bone and blood. You carry the heart brand now. You are no longer just a human to them. You are becoming something else." He looked down at his glowing scars. "And what if I don't want it?" Thera looked away. "You may not have a choice anymore." Suddenly, the fire in the pit rose higher than before, aging alive. From within the flames, a voice echoed in it. "Not alien, not human. He has been marked. The path begins. Bring him to the Dreaming Cavern." Logan turned slowly toward Thera. "What's the Dreaming Cavern?" Her face turned pale. "It's where the old gods sleep, and where all marked souls either ascend, or disappear." Logan walked with slow, heavy steps. Stone floor beneath him pulsed, like a slow heartbeat, live, ancient, aware. The path to the dreaming cavern was lit by glowing vines and strange floating orbs that hovered in the air like spirits. The air was thick with a scent of ash, moss, and something sweet, almost like blood. Behind him, two silent Varnak warriors marched, their masks carved with sharp runes. In front, Thera guided the way. She wore a long robe now, silver and blue, and her hair had been brushed back to reveal the glowing sigil on her neck, mark Logan hadn't seen before. "What's that?" he asked, pointing to it. She hesitated. "It's my bond to the cavern. I'm the last dream speaker." "What does that mean?" Thera didn't stop walking. "It means if you lose your mind inside, I'm the one who has to end you." Logan blinked. "Well, that's reassuring." They reached a large circular stone door. No guards, no symbols. Only a single shallow bowl on the ground filled with ash. Thera knelt, placed her hand in the ash, smeared it across the door in a spiral pattern. The stone groaned open. The moment Logan stepped inside, his knees buckled. A strange hum filled his ears, like whispers, thousands of them just below hearing. It's words he couldn't understand, but somehow still felt. The chamber inside was enormous. The ceiling was hidden by mist. At the center was a pool of dark, still water surrounded by standing stones, each one glowing faintly. The water reflected no light, no stars, only darkness. "This is the dreaming cavern," Thera said softly. "The final trial is not of the body, but of the soul." Logan's brand began to glow again. The red light on his skin pulsed as if trying to escape. "What happens now?" he asked. "You lie in the pool," she answered. "You let the cavern show you who you really are." "If I drown." She looked at him. "Then you were never strong enough to begin with." Logan gave a dry laugh. No pressure. He walked to the edge, removed his boots and jacket, and stepped into the cold, black water. It was colder than ice, but it didn't burn. It numbed, it welcomed. He floated backward until the water covered his ears. His mouth, his eyes, And then he was no longer in the cavern. He stood in a ruined Earth city. Smoke curled from broken towers. He saw himself, his younger self, shouting at a screen. His sister's voice on the other end, saying, "Don't go to Varthek's, Logan, people. Vanish out there." He'd ignored her. As always, then came another memory. His parents arguing, blaming each other. A war he fought in where orders led to the death of innocent colonists. The friends he lost. The love he ran from. The guilt he buried. One by one, the memories slammed into him like fists. He tried to run, but there was no escape. Then, silence. He stood before a mirror. His reflection had no eyes. Only fire where they should be. "Why do you fight so hard to live?" the mirror asked. Logan answered without thinking, "Because I never learned how to give up." The reflection tilted its head. "Then earn your second life." His eyes flew open. He was still in the pool, but the water was glowing. Thera rushed to the edge. "You did it," she said, voice trembling. "The pool accepted you. It didn't reject your soul." Logan sat up, breathing hard. But something's wrong. He looked down. The markings on his body had changed shape. No longer just tribal lines. Now, they looked like ... chains. "What does this mean?" he asked, rising slowly. Thera stared in horror. "I don't know. That has never happened before." From the chamber walls, the whispers returned louder. This time, he could almost understand them. "Breaker of the old prison. Blood of two worlds." "What prison?" Logan whispered. But the cavern began to shake. Rocks fell. The pool turned black again. The standing stones cracked. Thera grabbed his arm. "We need to go now." As they ran from the collapsing chamber, Logan looked back one last time. From the water, something rose. A tall figure, shadowy, red-eyed, and shaped like a human, but twisted, and it whispered in his voice, "You opened the door, Logan. Now let's see if you can close it." The jungle of Arthex 9 was thick and alive with strange sounds. Leaves moved without wind, glowing insects danced in the shadows, and the air smelled like metal and ash. Logan, a human explorer from Earth, walked carefully with his plasma machete. In hand, he'd been sent here alone to scan the planet's surface for safe zones. So far, nothing was safe. As he pushed past the moss-covered trees, he heard something crying. Not the sound of an animal. It was a voice. Soft, desperate. He turned fast, aiming his light into the trees. "Hello," he called. "Is someone?" There. That's when he saw her. A young alien girl stumbled into the clearing. She had strange markings on her arms, her skin was pale blue, and her legs shook with weakness. Her long white hair was dirty and stuck to her face. She fell to her knees in front of him and raised her hands. "Please," she whispered in broken galactic common. "Help, ... me." Logan rushed forward and caught her before she collapsed fully. Her body was cold. She was trembling. He could see burns on her shoulders and bruises along her ribs. "Who did this to you?" Logan asked softly, pulling out a small medical patch. "No time," the girl said, shaking her head. "They coming soon. Ritual. Ritual." Logan repeated, confused. The girl looked up, and her eyes widened as the sky above them turned red. The full moon had risen and, it wasn't white, it was deep crimson, the blood moon. She gasped. "They begin... Now, suddenly drums echoed in the distance. Deep, slow beats that seemed to shake the trees themselves. Logan looked around. The jungle was alive now. Glowing vines twisted higher. Animals fled. The ground itself felt like it was breathing. "They want sacrifice," the girl said, her voice breaking. "They think it's you." "What?" She clutched his jacket. "Please, don't run. If you run, they kill you fast. If you stay, maybe chance." "Chance to do what?" Logan asked. "To survive," she whispered, "and free me." More drums, closer now. Shadows moved between the trees tall, thin figures with masks made of bone and feathers. The girl pressed her forehead to Logan's hand. "I am Thera. I was chosen long ago, but I escaped. Now they need another. Led them to me," Logan said, backing away slowly. "I had no choice," she said, tears in her eyes. "But now, ... I choose. I choose you not to die." That didn't comfort him much. From the trees came a soft chant. Dozens of masked aliens stepped into view, circling the clearing. Their weapons were not modern wooden spears, sharp stones. Nets made of glowing thread. One of them, taller than the rest, stepped forward. His mask had 2 red feathers and a jagged fang at the center. He raised his hand. The drums stopped. He pointed at Logan. The chanting changed. They called him the Bleeding Skywalker. Logan held his hands up. "I'm not here to hurt anyone." Day didn't listen. The tall leader stepped aside, revealing a wide stone path lit by torches. At the end, a staircase led into a strange stone structure like a temple carved into a hill, covered in vines and bone totems. Thera touched his arm. "If you walk into that temple," she said, "you have chance. If you refuse, they break. You." Logan looked at her. He didn't trust her completely, but something in her eyes, fear mixed with hope, made him nod. "I'll go," he said. The tribe cheered in their language. The leader stepped aside as Logan walked forward. Thera whispered, "Please forgive me, but I believe you are not like others. You won't just survive, you'll change us." The temple swallowed him in darkness as he entered. With only the sound of his boots echoing on ancient stone, the blood moon shone above. Watching, and behind him, Thera knelt, ... and silently prayed. The moment Logan stepped into the ancient stone temple, the world outside seemed to vanish. The air turned thick like breathing through wet cloth, then the heat inside felt unnatural, as if the walls themselves were alive and burning. Torches lined the path ahead. Each flame blue instead of orange, casting long shadows that twisted and danced along the stone carvings. Those carvings, they weren't just art, they were warnings. Every surface was covered with scenes of beings both alien and human-looking, crying, screaming, begging. While masked figures watched, Logan paused. A soft crack came from behind. He spun, ready to fight. But it was Thera. She had followed him barefoot and quiet. They allowed me, she said softly, because I am the one who brought you. That's comforting, Logan muttered. So I'm the honored guest. She didn't smile. No, you're the test. Before he could ask more, the temple rumbled. A hidden door slid open ahead. Two warriors cloaked in bone armor gestured silently. Logan looked at Thera. Why are they not speaking? He whispered. They are mute by vow. Only the jungle may speak during the ritual. It didn't help his nerves. They were led down a spiral stairway that went deeper and deeper into the heart of the mountain. The walls glowed faintly. Strange symbols, pulsing red, flashed briefly, then vanished. Logan's HUD visor couldn't translate any of it. Thera, he said under his breath, what exactly is this ritual? She hesitated. It is called the Walking of Flames. The old god sleeps in the earth. Only one who touches fire and lives may be seen as true. Most burn, some vanish. One changed us once. Let me guess, Logan said. It wasn't a human, no, she replied. It was a beast. But now they believe humans are close to the god's shape, too stubborn to die. Hey, Logan laughed softly. That's about right. At the bottom of the stairs was a chamber huge, round and glowing red from a massive pit in the center. Flames rose, but there was no smoke. Around the pit stood dozens of tribe members, all silent, all masked. On the other side stood an old alien taller than Thera, his back bent with time. His robes were covered in bones, small animal skulls, and feathers from unknown creatures. This was the fire caller. He raised his hand and pointed at Logan. Then, with a slow and ancient voice, he spoke for the first time anyone had spoken since entering. Step into the ring of truth, Skyblood. Let the gods see your bones. Logan looked at Thera. You promised me a chance to survive. You still have it, she whispered. But only if you don't flinch. Logan swallowed his fear and walked into the circle, the stone under. His feet changed. It was no longer solid, it pulsed like muscle, warm and soft. The fire rose higher, licking the edges of the circle but never touching him. Then came the vision. The flames bent forward, like fingers reaching. Logan heard voices, human voices, screaming orders, begging, warning. He saw flashes of Earth's wars. He saw cities burning. He saw a woman crying. His sister? No, he whispered.
This isn't real.
But the fire wanted more. It showed. Him himself covered in blood, holding a broken blade. Alone. He clenched his fists. You want fear? You won't get it. The fire pushed harder, trying to break his mind. But Logan stood still. Shoulders square. Eyes forward. From the side. Thera was watching. And for the first time, she looked ... surprised. The fire shrank suddenly. The chamber turned quiet. The flames no longer reached for him. Instead, a symbol appeared on the ground below, him glowing red, shaped like a spiral with 6 points. Gasps came from the crowd. The fire caller fell to his knees. The mark of endurance, Thera whispered. Logan turned to her. Is that good? She nodded slowly. No one has earned it, not in 200 years. The fire caller stood, shaking. The god watches. The trial begins now. Logan frowned. That wasn't the trial. Thera finally smiled, sad, proud smile. No, that was the invitation. Outside the dreaming cavern, the sky was no longer the same. The blood moon had turned darker, almost black-and. Strange stars flickered above. Stars that hadn't been there before. The jungle felt silent, but not peaceful. It was the kind of silence before a storm, or worse. Before something awakens. Logan stumbled through the cracked archway, soaked and shaking. His skin burned where the chain-shaped markings had formed during the ritual. They pulsed with a dull red glow life, crawling under his skin like fire trapped in metal. Thera was pale. That thing, she whispered. It copied your voice. Logan didn't speak. His breath was heavy, and his vision flickered, with shadows that didn't exist. Every step he took felt like a warning bell echoing through the planet. At the base of the Temple Hill, the Varnock tribe had gathered again. But this time they did not chant. They knelt, they trembled. Even the fire caller didn't approach. "What is this?" Logan demanded. "Why are they scared?" Thera turned to him slowly. "Because they think you are the second coming of Courvel." Logan frowned. "Who?" She whispered the name like a curse. "The Bound One. A god they locked away. Centuries ago, beneath this land, a god made of both creation and destruction. And the last time he spoke, the skies turned red for 100 nights." Logan laughed bitterly. "So now I'm their devil?" Thera looked up at him, unsure. "Or their savior. Both, maybe." Then his chains lit up again, this time, painfully. Logan dropped to his knees, grabbing his chest. Voices filled his head. The prison cracks. The key walks. Memory awakens. He screamed, but inside his mind, he saw Vision's giant machines marching across alien landscapes. A war between stars. A massive being chained in space, bleeding light into the void and in front of it. Human. Not Logan, but someone who looked almost like him. The past. Or the future. He snapped back to reality, gasping. Thera held his face. "Logan, what did you see?" He looked at her, pupils glowing faintly red. "Something is waking up. It knows me. Or it knew someone, like me." Thera's hands trembled. "If the Bound One escapes, he won't just destroy this world. He'll rewrite all life." Logan stood, chest rising. "Then tell me how to stop it." She hesitated. "There's only one way. The chained flame. It's an ancient artifact hidden deep in the forbidden roots of the jungle. Only it can lock the god again." "Then we go," he said, starting forward. But Thera didn't move. "There's a cost," she whispered. "The flame doesn't just seal gods. It seals souls, whoever lights it. We'll never leave." Logan paused. The ground beneath them rumbled again. He looked up at the blood moon. His mind was screaming. His body felt like a furnace. But he still managed a dry smile. "I came to this planet to explore," he said. "Looks like I found something worth dying for." She looked away. "You don't have to do this." He took her hand. "You saved me when you didn't have to. Now I do the same." Just then, a low growl echoed from the trees. Not an animal, not a beast, but the voice of something large. Moving, Thera gasped. "It followed you out of the cavern." From the jungle emerged the figure from Logan's vision re-dyed, shadow-formed and tall like a god carved from night. Its voice echoed across the clearing. "Logan, you are mine. You were always mine." Varnak warriors fled. The fire caller collapsed. The earth cracked. But Logan stepped forward, fire in his eyes. "No," he said, "I'm nobody's." The chain markings on his skin flared bright gold for the first time, and the figure recoiled. Thera gasped. "Gold. That's not possible." Logan didn't hear her. He walked straight toward the Godiko, his own shadow stretching long behind him, the jungle roaring around them. "You want your key?" Logan shouted. "Then chase me into hell." And with that, he turned running into the forbidden roots, toward the place where legend said no one ever returned. But this time, a human was going in, and he was taking destiny with him. Asterisk the forbidden. Roots weren't just a jungle. They were alive with memories. As Logan crossed into the overgrown forest, everything behind him vanished. The trees curved unnaturally, their bark like petrified flesh, their branches twitching as if watching. The leaves whispered in a language that wasn't words. And under his feet, the ground pulsed like it carried veins. He wasn't alone, not just because Thera followed him. The echo of Courvel, the chained god, stalked behind the trees. Always just out of sight, Logan could feel it like a sickness. In his bones. His brand itched, glowed, then faded again, as if fighting with something deep inside him. "How close are we?" he asked, pushing through tangled roots that writhed like snakes. Thera spoke softly. "The chained flame lies at the center, in a temple swallowed by the forest. It only reveals itself when the one marked by the heartbrand calls it Ek." Logan glanced at her. "You mean me?" She nodded. "And if it hears you, it will test you." "I figured," he muttered. On this planet comes easy. As they moved deeper, the trees began to change. Some were fused together like melted wax. Others had bones embedded in their trunks, ancient remains of those who came before. The whispers grew louder, then the visions began. Logan blinked and suddenly saw his sister standing in front of him, smiling. "Don't leave me again, Logan." He reached out, but his hand passed. Through her like smoke, next came a dying soldier from his past, then a burning village. Then Thera, bloodied, lifeless. "Stop," he shouted. Thera gripped his shoulders. "They're not real. The forest tests your mind first. Don't trust what you see." He looked at her as real anchor and took a shaky breath. Then a soft glow appeared ahead, hidden behind walls of mist. The temple of the chained flame. It didn't look like a temple. It looked like a giant stone heart cracked open. Bleeding fire that floated in the air like golden dust. At the center was the flame, floating above an altar made of black bone. No fuel, no smoke, just raw, eternal fire. It didn't flicker like normal flame. It watched as Logan stepped forward. The brand on his body glowed again, but this time it turned gold, not red. The chains across his chest uncoiled and shimmered in the air. Stretching toward the fire like they recognized it, Thera stayed back. "You have to do this part alone," she said. "I am only the witness now." He walked closer, heart pounding. The flame grew hotter, but not on his skin. It burned his thoughts, his doubts, his regrets. All floated to the surface. The flame spoke without speaking. "You hold the lock and the key. Choose." Logan looked down at the altar. There were two marks, one like the chains on his chest, the other shaped like a sun. "What does this mean?" he asked. Thera stepped closer, voice trembling. "One path seals the god and yourself. The other releases him but gives you his strength." Logan stared at the options. Die to save others, or live with a monster inside him. But then he remembered. Everyone he'd met on this planet, the girl who cried in the jungle, the tribe that feared and bowed, the god who whispered in his head, and himself, who was once broken, now reforged. "I've run from too many things," Logan whispered. He placed his hand on the chain symbol. Immediately, the flame roared. Chains of golden fire wrapped around him. The temple shook. Vines burned away. The jungle screamed. The god's echo howled in rage. Logan fell to his knees. But he did not scream. He endured. The flame entered his chest. One final brand carved onto his heart, and when it was over, silence. The forest calmed. The blood moon faded, and the god's voice vanished. Thera ran to him. You survived it. You chose the chain." Logan opened his eyes. They still glowed faint gold. "Because power without control is just destruction, and I've destroyed enough." He looked back at the temple. The flame was gone, so was the threat, but the chains remained on him, glowing softly. "Now what?" he asked. Thera gave a small, hopeful smile. "Now you're the flame keeper, the new protector of what was once feared." We laughed bitterly. "Didn't plan for this kind of promotion." She looked at him seriously. "The galaxy may need you. One day the god might try again." Logan nodded. "Then I'll be waiting." We turned toward the jungle, walking beside her, and the forest bowed to him. The jungle had changed. It no longer whispered warnings. It hummed with quiet respect. The roots that once reached a trap now made way as Logan and Thera walked side by side, turning from the temple of the chained flame, the golden chains. Across Logan's chest still glowed faintly, warm like sunlight, but heavy with purpose. Behind them, the temple heart slowly sealed itself, vanishing under vines and earth like it never existed. The trial was over, but something deeper had begun. At the edge of the forbidden roots, the Varnock tribe waited. Hundreds of masked figures, warriors, shamans. Even the firecaller knelt when they saw Logan, not in fear, in reverence. He was no longer the outsider, no longer the Skyblood. He was something they had no name for. Thera stepped forward first, "It is done," she announced. "The bound one sleeps again. The flame has chosen its keeper." The fire caller rose slowly. He removed his mask for the first time, an act that stunned the tribe. Beneath it was a face marked by time and sorrow. He looked at Logan. "You carry a weight none of us could bear. You did not run." Logan nodded but said nothing. Silence was not empty. It was sacred now. Then Thera knelt before him. "I offered you once to the flames to save myself. Now, I offer myself freely to stand beside you as long as the chains burn." Logan hesitated, then reached down and gently lifted her up. "No more kneeling," he said. "We walk forward. Together." Tears welled in her eyes, not of sorrow, but relief. The fire caller stepped aside, and the crowd parted. Logan and Thera walked into the village, but there was no celebration. No feast instead. A quiet tradition, the last oath. At the center of the village stood the pillar of echoes, an old monument covered in names of those who had faced the trials. Most of the names were faded, forgotten. Only 3 remained bright. Logan walked to the stone and carved a 4th, not his own. For those who chose to rise instead of rule. He stepped back. The tribe bowed again. But Logan raised a hand. "No more gods," he said. "No more sacrifices. We will protect each other, not to please fire or fear, but because it's right." It was the first time a human had rewritten a sacred tradition of the Varno, and they accepted it because Logan had earned it that night. The blood moon faded into pale silver. The skies cleared. For the first time in generations, stars shone over. Varthek's 9. Not red, not cursed, but beautiful. Thera and Logan sat quietly at the edge of the village. Watching the jungle breathe under starlight, she looked at him. "You changed everything." He smiled faintly. "I didn't mean to." She leaned closer. "That's what makes it real." Then, from behind, a small tribal child approached. She held a bundle wrapped in vines. Inside was a flamestone one, of the last from the old temple. "For the keeper," the child said. Logan accepted it gently. It pulsed in his hands, not with power, its warmth. The chains on his chest stopped glowing, not gone, just ... resting. He looked at Thera. "What now?" She smiled. "Now we teach the next ones how to fight without becoming monsters." He nodded. And for the first time since he landed on this planet, Logan felt peace. Not because the danger was over, but because he finally understood what strength really meant. Not to destroy, not to conquer, but to carry the burden others can stand, choose not to fall.